My name is Koros, and today I have the rise of Houshou from nothing to the most popular VTuber in the world. Hope you guys enjoy. So this video popped up onto my YouTube feed from starving in poverty to #1 VTuber in the world. I've been watching Hololive for no. I've been watching Hololive for 6 coming on to 7 years now. So I'm pretty familiar with Marin, but like with most VTubers, I'm not too familiar with their backgrounds. I guess that's just comes with the nature of VTubing, where when it comes to corporate, you're more or so playing a character rather than being yourself. It might be an extension of yourself, but it's still strictly a character. So when there is an opportunity to learn about a VTuber's backstory, especially someone as large and popular as Marin, then I will take that opportunity. So let's just get started.
Houshou Marin, the world's largest
Houshou
active
Marin.
VTuber. This is her childhood dream.
絶対おっぱい大きくなるという目標がねずっとあり
Wait, what? That's her childhood dream? I thought it was gonna be like become a big entertainer, not. Yeah.
ましたのでまあ子供
You're in for a ride. Despite where she stands today, Marin, or Sencho as we call her, grew up
Sencho.
in poverty. Her family so poor that she remembers not being able to afford snacks like chips and could only buy bread rolls. Her
Whoa.
apartment was so run down and in the middle of nowhere that they'd be infested with
Ew.
insects. And even as a child, she lived so hungry that one time she tried eating the Street Fighter paper
Jesus. That's crazy. Eating a magazine. That is I don't even know what to say. That's crazy. That must have been such a difficult upbringing.
manual. Even McDonald's was too expensive for their family. The details of her full
McDonald's is so expensive, especially nowadays. It's so expensive, and for like not that much food. At least in the States or where I'm at, it's pretty expensive here.
family are unclear, but she mentions not having a mother, growing up with just her sister and father. Even so, her dad seemed to do an amazing job because even under these harsh conditions, she had never once considered herself to be unlucky or unhappy. And we see in clips that
That's a
to
really
this
good
day,
mindset.
she is very close to both of them, with insane stories like her dad seducing her previous boss, messaging
What?
her like a classic Oji-san. But anyway, most likely due to poverty, Sencho never went to university and directly entered the workforce right after high school. And if you know anything about Japan's work culture, then you may have heard of black companies. Companies that overwork the hell out of employees with little compensation and are in legal gray areas. Marin unfortunately worked in one, perhaps not knowing, perhaps having no choice, and it was brutal. She has memories of working overtime past midnight, not
Past midnight? That is crazy. I've never heard anyone talk about working past midnight. Jesus. Like I have some friends who are from Japan and work in Japan. They don't work for black companies, but even them often talk about the work culture there and how they don't like it. But I've never heard anyone talk about having to work past 12 or like past midnight. Jesus.
being able to take time off even when she got the flu or got injured. And one time, instead of a performance bonus, they gave her mandarin oranges as a bonus.
Man-
Except the
That's not a bonus. And that's like a temporary bonus, even if you saw it as a bonus. Because at least if you got like a financial bonus, that stays with you until I guess you leave. But mandarins, they go rotted.
mandarin oranges were rotting. The breaking point was when the CEO
They were already
called
rotting?
everyone in her
What?
department in for a meeting and called everyone replaceable, saying anyone could do their work. See, the reason Marin stayed at the company for so long was because even under those conditions, she still had a sense of purpose. People in her department called her essential to the company's functioning. But after that line from the CEO, she was done. Marin resigned and
Yeah,
never
that's just
looked back.
counter.
Perhaps it's somehow
Oh, that's
due
just
to
contradicting.
this asshole CEO that we have Sencho today. Sencho applied for Hololive, quoting that she wanted a platform to use her diverse skill set and VTubing would be perfect for that. She specifically chose Hololive, being fans of Fubuki and Minato Aqua.
Aqua, I miss Aqua. I miss watching her Apex Legends streams, trying to solo to master. I miss those streams. Those were very good times in Hololive.
Successfully passing the audition, she debuted as Houshou Marin in 2019 August and never looked back. Despite her reputation today, Marin was understandably very nervous on her debut stream, still trying to act cute and idol-like.
ですね、そう、私、船長
Well, I think nowadays people are more composed during debut streams. But back then, it was VTubing is so new that I guess there wasn't really a standard for debut streams. Or so a lot of debutantes were less prepared and more nervous. Like the infamous Corone debut. But I think nowadays there's much more preparation for debuts, so stuff like this doesn't happen. I didn't do a debut stream. Maybe in the future when I have a more personal model than this one.
なんですけども、
But that all went out the window with Yago's dreams very soon. Marin was known for being horny. Seriously, Marin is probably the one that talks about sex and sexual topics by
Yup.
far the most in Hololive. Like, it's literally become
I feel like she's like the only one who, at least as frequent as she is, talks about this kind of stuff. I think she's definitely in a league of her own.
a part of her identity. Her music is horny, her streams are horny, and she even achieved her childhood dreams of growing big boobs. Yet somehow, Marin has this amazing dynamic with her chat, where it's almost as if chat doesn't want to lust for Marin because Marin is so desperate literally asking for it, or sarcastically asking if they want it. It's usually the opposite dynamic with VTubers, where the fans are lusting over the pretend-to-be girlfriend VTuber. So Marin's unique position
That's
with
true.
her fans makes the banter so funny to watch.
やっぱそうなんじゃん。あ、ピチピチの方が好きなんじゃん。
Obviously, the banter is all sarcasm, but I think it reflects one of Marin's greatest strengths, talking. See, one of Marin's old jobs was
She is
customer
very good at
service,
talking.
and that combined with toxic corporate culture really made her a good yapper. She talks so fast, even Japanese listeners sometimes struggle to keep up with her.
教えてくれるよね。それはネタバレじゃないもんね。一回見たけどマリンが忘れただけだからそれはネタバレに該当しないよね。
But
What? I understood the first part of that, but what did she say?
教えてくれるよね。それはネタバレじゃないもんね。一回見たけどマリンが忘れただけだからそれはネタバレに該当しないよね。
but
I mean, I'm not fluent in Japanese. I just grew up speaking it a little bit. My Japanese level is, I think, as good as like a sixth grader, maybe. But that is super fast. I did not
教え
understand.
てくれるよね。それはネタバレじゃないもんね。一回見たけどマリンが忘れただけだからそれはネタバレに該当しないよね。
but more than
Yeah,
that, she's just a
yeah.
natural at entertaining. She's the cliche.
I did not pick up
doubles
on that.
down
This video is sponsored by nobody. But if you are enjoying the video, please consider subscribing. Thank you so much for watching and enjoy the rest of the video.
believes and scolds chat, which they seem to enjoy, but beyond that charisma also lies insane creativity. Like, just look at her content. Yago memes, censored, engaging with the English community, memes.
The DNA of the soul.
I swear, she is clip farm material. And the amount of collabs with not just her gen mates, but other big VTubers, including Niji Sanji, she did.
What is
Yeah,
this?
she was blowing up and she fully deserved it. She worked so
She does deserve all her success. I think she's very serious when it comes to the content that she produces. Like, despite how she acts on stream, you can tell that she's very serious about her content and everything she puts out. And she definitely deserves all the success that she has right now. And I guess back then too, obviously.
hard. As her income presumably blew the hell up, Sencho started looking for a better place to live in because she was still living in that rundown poverty apartment.
Really? She still streamed from there? Even I guess that's true. I'm still not sure how much money a VTuber makes, like a corporate VTuber makes. I'm still very unsure of how the monetization works or how the pay works, I guess. That's a better saying for corporate. So yeah, I guess it does make sense that she was still living here for a while. Well, I guess it depends how long or when she decided to move.
She was literally streaming in a cramped room crouching. But this house search turned out to be a disaster. Only
Uh-oh.
about 2 to 3 months after debut, Sencho started house
Oh,
searching.
yeah, okay, that makes sense. That time frame makes sense. 2 to 3 months of working at Hololive. Yeah, that makes more sense. That she lived in her old place for that long.
After some vetting, she thought she found a decent place and planned to move in
She
January
thought?
2020. She had completed all the torturous Japanese paperwork bureaucracy procedures and even had a moving company arranged, plus line installations for better internet at her new place, something now essential to her career. But suddenly, randomly, the landlord of the new place refused the internet line installation.
Why? Also, I guess I never thought about that. I guess landlords can just deny an installation like this, but I don't really see why you would do that. Very dumb decision by the landlord.
Meaning Senjo suddenly had to find a new place, on a timer too, since she had already informed the old place of a specific move-out date, less than a
Ooh.
month later in February. Keep in mind, this was all going on when there was a pretty big Hololive concert she had to perform in coming up. Both Senjo and the house agency in a panic, they somehow managed to find a new place and planned to move on February 10th. But on the morning of February 10th, Marin had to wake up at 5:30 a.m. for the move, and after taking her final shower at the old apartment, found the drain clogged and was charged for
Amazing.
it. The final
And charged
morning,
for it.
bro. And then, when she finally got to her new place, Senjo arrived to find that the key to the front door would not open.
How? How is she so unlucky? The first place doesn't let her install internet. She clogs the drain somehow and has to pay for it on the last day of her staying there. And then now she can't unlock the door. How does this even happen? Especially the key thing. Did the landlord just give her the wrong key?
Leaving her having to wait at the front door for an hour, exhausted, before management finally came to help. And when she finally got into the apartment, she found that the internet lines hadn't even been
What?
installed, despite the promises of a very strong internet connection. She tried streaming with her mobile data, but it was abysmal connection speed, so she gave
That
up.
is literally these are the worst things that can happen to you as a content creator. And I guess just as a person in general, all the moving hiccups, quote unquote, and now the internet doesn't work. The backbone of your career. That's crazy.
And just rented a studio for streaming for the time being. This moving was literally anything that could go wrong went wrong. Despite all this chaos, Senjo never stopped creating top quality content and streams, her channel exponentially growing, with the viral release of her first original song, Ahoy! In June 2020.
June 2020. I remember when this came out. It's been 6 years almost since this song came out. Jesus. Hey, at least it's a good song though.
Senjo reached 1 million subscribers in 2021 January, just 1.5 years after debut, and the 6th member in Hololive to achieve this milestone. Just a look at any of her streams is enough to tell you how engaged her chat is with her antics, and what a natural entertainer she was. Unfortunately, here is when another few hiccups along the way would form. For obvious reasons, Senjo's channel was always fighting with demonetization, but in July, YouTube randomly decided to ban her entire channel. Like, entire channel randomly terminated. Had the
I remember
lewdness
this.
finally gone too far for YouTube? Fans questioned. But a click on her channel showed that it was terminated for fraud, spam, and misleading
deceptive
content
practices,
by
and misleading
YouTube's
content.
automatic AI system. I swear YouTube needs to fucking stop doing this.
We already know how bad YouTube AI is nowadays. So back then, it was even worse than it is now. They really haven't made any improvements in like the last 6 years.
Thankfully, YouTube quickly checked and confirmed it was a false positive, restoring her channel. Probably because she was a big channel under a company. But then just a
Yeah, that
month
helps.
later, because Senjo yaps so much on stream and was unconsciously trying to use that cutesy voice, Senjo announced that she would be severely decreasing the frequency of streams as she was suffering from pretty bad throat strain. But this reduction didn't help much because in September, doctors found not just vocal cord nodules, but even internal bleeding in her
Jesus, internal bleeding in the vocal cords from straining too much. I didn't hear about that. I never heard about this somehow. Well, I guess it makes sense because I'm not much of a social media person, so I'm not on social media very much or at all. So I guess it makes sense I didn't hear about this. Hope
She
that
came
she's
back
better
a little
though.
over a month later, focusing on voice therapy, and since then, she seems to have been more careful and hasn't had huge throat issues since then.
That's good.
You know, you see Sencho's clips and streams and thumbnails and you think, wow, that's a crazy ass girl. And then
True.
I do research for this video, hearing everything she's been through, and I'm like, wow, that's a crazy ass backstory. But I feel like
Crazy ass
that's shaped
backstory
why
for a
Sencho
crazy
has
girl.
become so popular and the way she is. While batshit crazy, horny, memeable, clippable on the outside, even multi-talented, good at both singing and drawing, if you stay for her yapping and talking streams, or pay attention to some small moments, you can really tell that she is mature on the inside.
Well, I think that comes with how she grew up. I think she was probably forced, or just in that scenario, not scenario, like in that circumstance, you have to kind of step up and be mature. But I think that's also why she works so hard, is because this is such like a big opportunity. So she wants to put 100% of herself into this opportunity, and that has paid off very well for her. She's doing amazing, and she's earned everything that she's achieved to this point.
As a person, she gives amazing life advice based on her torturous
Don't torture yourself by
corporate
comparing
life,
yourself to
and
others.
especially during collabs, you can tell how she secretly takes care of everyone's emotions, how she pivots if she senses someone start to feel uncomfortable. Hell, I think the fact that an extrovert like her managed to
Aqua.
adopt the notoriously socially anxious Aquatan and build a genuine relationship upon that says a lot about her people skills. Her unhinged streams with Coco, her cheating with Rusia, even despite everything she's been through, she still is able to form these genuine bonds with her co-workers. No, not co-workers, friends. Many may love her for her crazy entertainment, but I think the secret behind her success is compassion for both people and her VTubing career. The way she cares for both her fellow VTubers and fans. The way she spends God knows how much money on her music and
I do agree with that. Her friendships or her relationship with all of the Hololive members does feel very genuine and not much in a corporate or like a coworker way. I feel like her relationships are very genuine. Her friendships are very genuine with everyone in Hololive. She feels like or at least the ones she interacts with, and you can see that in like a lot of the collabs she's part of. Whenever she's in collabs, I find those collabs to be like super enjoyable. Even as someone who doesn't watch Marine, I do appreciate it when she's in collabs. I think she elevates collabs a lot.
MVs. They have more frames than entire seasons of anime combined. No,
I know,
seriously.
her MVs
I
are
have to show
crazy.
this a bit. The MVs look insane. They deserve all the views they get. It's like a trademark Central thing. Throw an ungodly amount of money to make the highest quality MVs possible.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, she's putting 100% of herself and her effort in her VTubing career, and that is super respectable.
She could save the money, but no, she just throws everything.
Yeah, she could save the money,
Besides
but
that, she's not afraid
nah.
to just yap about things, opinions. She folds or fights back when she wants, banters with chat. It's just, you can tell Central loves VTubing. You can tell that she is just
I
a
agree.
person. It's not all sunshines, even in this job. She's talked about being depressed before, although she didn't deep dive as she didn't want to bring the stream's mood down. But after that, she literally gets back up and just forgets why she was even depressed. Hell, she herself said that despite how good of a job she has at Hololive, it's actually more stressful than her toxic corporate life because at her old job, she just had to repeat what she did every day. She didn't have to think about what to do, unlike being
I mean, that makes sense, but I do think that this is two very different types of stress. I think the stress at like a regular corporate job is you're stressing to appease your boss who can fire you at, any moment. But the stress that comes from, I guess, the VTubing content creation side is more about, there's similarities, but it's more about the stress of whether or not your audience will enjoy what you're doing and putting out. There are similarities between the stress because on one hand, your boss is someone who controls your career. He could end your career anytime. And the same thing could be said about an audience. If your audience doesn't like what you're doing, they can just stop supporting you. But I think the amount that, let's say you have a bad performance or you do something, you put out a piece of content that not all of your audience engages with and enjoys, that's not going to immediately kill your career. When on the other hand, if you do something that your boss doesn't like at your corporate job, then your boss can just be like, you're fired, and there's nothing you can do about it. I do think this is two different types of stress. And for the stress when it comes to content creation, I think she's able to handle a lot more of it. But in turn, that does make this job more stressful than her office job.
A VTuber where you really have to think creatively on what you want to
Yeah.
do. And given all the shit she's been through, Senjo's positivity is impressive. Growing up in poverty, being exploited in a black company, I can't believe she still has the positive and humble attitude given where she is today.
I can understand the humble attitude because when you grow up like that, you kind of grow that humility. But having such a positive mindset, even after going through what she has, is only commendable. I guess it's like it's super commendable.
But maybe this is an important lesson to learn. Stay positive, stay compassionate, and just be a good person. In 2024,
You hear that, everyone? Be a good person.
Marin held her first ever solo live in front of an audience of 40,000. And last year, she became
40,000,
the
Jesus.
second VTuber in history to hit 4 million subscribers. Since Gura has graduated, Marin
Gura.
has effectively become the #1 active VTuber in the world and directly told Yago,
Really?
the CEO, that she is aiming for 5 million. Her story from
She's able to hit 5 million. I think VTubing is becoming, I wouldn't say it's mainstream, but it's becoming more popular. It's like reaching that mainstream point, but I don't think it's quite mainstream yet. But I mean, with the trajectory that VTubing as a whole is going, she's easily going to hit 5 million, probably even more.
poverty to exploited employee to #1 in the world is seriously inspiring. I'm so glad Sencho found her calling. I hope Sencho continues to be Sencho, and I hope that we can all learn to be more positive and compassionate like her. Special thanks to
That was a good video. Yeah, this video was, I agree, this video was super inspiring. This is a nice reminder that being a good person, being positive, and also being hardworking will get you places